and welcome to the Gfinity Arena for the second race of the F1 Esports Pro Championship 2022. We started the season last night under the lights in Bahrain, and whilst there are some new faces competing right at the front, we ended up with a very familiar face taking the checkered flag.
A brand new season.
This is spine-tingling. Everyone trying to catch the Opmir.
It is time for a new season of F1 Esports, and we go racing.
Great start from Opmir.
Bernard has had a very good start.
And we got passing on the racetrack. It's all going off at once. This is so tight. He's fighting his teammate. He's fighting Rona. He's getting through. Barry Burman's going to take the lead of this one. Here we go, Lucas Blakely. Lucas Blakely wins the opening race of the year.
So here we are then, the race classification of round one, and there is that smiley chap known as Lucas Blakely picking up 25 points, a deja vu of 2021. He's done it again. He was closely followed by Jarno Opmeer, the reigning champion, and Barry Burman made it a very, very good day for the McLaren Shadow team as he finished in third. Simon Weigand picking up his his best race performance in the Pro Series. A bit of a shout out to Thomas Rona from Haas. He was up there, but unfortunately a bit of damage made him unable to finish the race. Listen, we are heading to Italy right now, in fact. We're heading to Imola. And joining me for that fun trip is a man who won the first F1 2022 LAN event of the year, Hayden Gullis, who's currently 3 seconds off the required pace at the moment. I feel like I've done you a bit of a disservice there.
It's like a backhanded compliment there. You remembered that, you know, first ever F1 LAN event winner.
Yeah.
Not forgetting that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the 3 seconds is probably actually quite nice to me, in all fairness.
Yeah, but it just goes to show how difficult it is. You can win LAN events, but to get here, it is a different ball game. Hayden Gullis, it's an absolute delight to have you on the desk alongside me for all of the action. You watched the action from last night. How good was it?
I did. It was such a great spectacle. We've got new names at the front, people who have made their debut yesterday in the series, and they're right there at the top. We've got the new regulations. It's kind of shaken up the grid a little bit as well, so it's really exciting, and we've got a great series in front of us.
Yeah, just going to show that you might have had pace in the last game. This one, you've got to learn the mechanics, get used to it. Let's talk about those key moments from yesterday. Jarno Opmeer, the reigning champion, he went for the undercut, and it was an overcut actually that kind of almost paid off. But I tell you what, Barry and Lucas were saying they were having none of it, really.
Yeah, I mean, Jarno's going to be wanting his teammates. Do you know what? Really nice, he cut across the grass and didn't lose the car and still stayed ahead, because it's so easy just to drop the car and end up in the barrier. So very lucky not to do that. But he's going to be wanting Danny Moreno this time around to try and back him up, because McLaren were just able to bully him out of the way in this little battle between the two drivers. Very nice at the moment. How long we will see that over the course of the series with both drivers, of course, wanting to win the championship, we'll just have to wait and see.
Are you suggesting scandal in somewhere that all of this bromance between the two of them might fall out? But it just goes to show how important it is to have two drivers from the same team up there. It just gives you more dynamic. Danny Moreno got caught in the pits a few times. However, I did mention it, Thomas Rona, he really stood out yesterday for Haas. They've gone with the approach to young, budding, eager drivers. They've got raw pace. Haven't got the experience, but I tell you what, he was so close to getting points in his debut.
Yeah, I think Haas have got an absolute bargain with their driver lineup this season. Thomas Ronhart, every single time I go onto the F1 game, his name is at the top of the time trials. He is blisteringly quick on this game, but a little bit of inexperience, I think, came into it yesterday in the Bahrain race. He was very eager to get up there, fight the front, dropped a few positions off the start as well, so maybe that inexperience, but the likes of Rasmussen, Blakely, know where to put their car and know when to go for battles, and more importantly, when not to go for battles, because unfortunately for him, P2 in qualifying, but no points.
Yeah, sometimes that fearlessness is perfect, and other times you just need that racecraft. So fingers crossed for the Haas team. What has it done to the standings? Well, we've had one race. You can see all of the points there for the drivers, but just in case you didn't know, $750,000 is on the line in the prize pool for the team championship. And so far, after a 1-3, gives McLaren 40 points. And Mercedes have got it all to do. They're the reigning champs. But then Red Bull want to get back up there for the year before. Only 4 points so far. This is going to be such a close season.
Yeah, definitely. Red Bull are going to be disappointed with that first round. Only 4 points on the board, but they're going to come out fighting here in Imola. Of course, we always see them at the top, and they're one of the teams that really take into consideration that this is a team's championship. Drivers' egos have to go out through the window, and Rasmussen is always such a great team player. There's even been occasions in the finale when he's had the chance to win the championship where he's allowed another driver to take his position because they're just quicker at the end of the day.
Hey, I tell you what, it's a brilliant F1 season in general. Someone who was there at Monza is also making her debut in the F1 Esports Pro Championship, and that is Arianna Bravo. Arianna, come stai?
My Italian is not good enough to embarrass myself and respond to that, Tom. But I'm doing very well, and how can I not be doing well when I'm here in Maranello, the home of Ferrari? It is incredible out here. It's iconic. Everywhere you go in the town, we see the colour red, we see the prancing horse. It is living and breathing Ferrari. Amazing.
And by the way, if you'd have answered anything in Italian back, that's when I would have started sweating and panicking. But it's just so iconic there. And with the Ferrari esports setup, it's next level. It's super tech, isn't it, down there?
It really is. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see behind me. This setup is pretty incredible here. It's looking pretty snazzy. We've got the desk here with everyone hard at work. It really feels like, to be honest, like I'm interrupting something very important. Everyone is hard at work. The team all getting along so well, working together. It's fantastic. Just look at the concentration here and the levels of work and effort that are going in to pull off all of the esports that we see.
Yeah, I tell you what, actually, with the amount of glasses there in that team, I might have got a job there, to be fair, just wear a red top. It is going to be epic tonight. They're looking to get back to winning ways. Well, I tell you what, I found out that while we were being a bit jealous here, the weather's been terrible. Arianna.
The weather has been terrible, but you should still be jealous because I'm still in Maranello and you're not. But It has been thunderstorms. I'm just rubbing it in.
Yeah.
But it was thunderstorms today, and it is meant to be thunderstorms all of tomorrow. But I would rather have thunderstorms in the Ferrari factory than back in the studio.
Wow, cold, but I expected that. It's so good to have you as part of the team. Arianna, listen, we'll let you be the ears and eyes for us all the way in Maranello. So cool. We'll catch up with her later on, Hayden. But, I mean, just so iconic, this history everywhere there. And I feel like there's a little bit of pressure on those drivers because they didn't deliver yesterday and they'll be hoping to get back to winning ways.
Well, they're in Imola as well, which is a home race Ferrari. It's the closest race, I believe, to their factory. But, yeah, definitely jealous that Arianna is there in Maranello and also in Italy. What a beautiful country it is.
It is indeed. All right, so last season, 2021, David Tonitza, who didn't race yesterday in Bahrain, Fab Donoso stepped up. This is just a reminder of what he is capable of. In 2021, got the only win for the Ferrari team, but they've got two world champions right there, and with Fab Donoso, who's always pushed Brendan Lee back in the early days of the Pro Championship. What do you make of them as a team? Are they firing all cylinders? Are they not delivering? What can change for them?
They've got some great names in their team. Brendan Lee, two-time world champion. David Tonitza, world champion as well. And Fabrizio Donoso was fighting. He was second place, was runner-up to Brendan Lee's first championship. So great names, but now are we seeing a change of the guard in F1 esports? There's a lot of new names. There's a lot of young drivers who've been waiting years to come of age to be able to take part in this series. And now they're starting to step on the toes of those experienced guys.
Wow, I tell you what, he sets up such a good story. They're looking to get back to winning ways. That's David Tonitza of Ferrari. And of course, hoping to repeat some of last season's results to kickstart their season is Red Bull as they look to regain the team title. They lost to Mercedes in 2021.
Can Freddie Rasmussen crack this code?
Marcel Kiefer has dominated from the front. Freddie Rasmussen will take his first victory of the season in the Red Bull.
We always want to win, but to also grow as a team. It's not as easy and straightforward as that. There are so many factors. We try to learn and improve. We'll try and do our best.
It was disappointing not to win last year, so we'll try and get it back this year.
Freddie
Rasmussen has the race lead. Otmir diving to the inside. Otmir plays it to perfection and regains the lead. Tactical masterclass at this stage, but it's not over yet. Otmir versus Rasmussen for the championship, and Otmir has got it right.
It's great, like knowing that I have the same teammate that I get along with, and that we showed already multiple times that we can work together. We are all fairly similar, but also like every single one adds something really important to the team. Having Oracle Rebel Racing trust us, even though we didn't win last year, is great.
We're going to keep trying new things on the setup, new things on the game to see if that somehow gains us some pace, make some better strategy calls this year, which could help a lot with getting more points.
Here comes Freddie Rasmussen. Will he go for the lead here? Moreno goes to the inside now, and then Rasmussen to the outside with the use of DRS.
They know we have the talent. If we get everything right, we can dominate.
Our preparations, we've done quite a lot. It seems like we're lacking a bit of pace, but yeah, we're practicing a lot to try and fix that.
I would be really excited to have a shot again at the title, and we'll make sure I will keep pushing this year to have a shot at it.
The last 3 years where I finished runner-up, I'm gonna put it down to bad luck and getting unlucky. So I need some luck on my side and keep doing what I'm doing.
At this moment, when it really counts, this is the closest that we've seen Rasmussen all the way.
Freddie deserved it already a couple of years ago. We want to win, that's the main thing. We want to win the drivers, we want to win the team's title. We want to win every single race, every single session.
I'm not focused on beating my teammates, I'm focused on beating the other teams. So that's what we're working together to try to do.
Well, it was a slow start yesterday for Freddie Rasmussen and even slower from Marcel Kiefer, but hoping to make a very fast start on another debut of the team. It's the one and only George Morgan. You will have heard his voice across league commentating for the first time tonight. You've moved up to the big leagues, the big league, the Welsh extraordinaire. George Morgan, welcome to the show.
Hello. Yes, it's good to be here.
Yeah, exciting because you're making that debut, a rookie coming in. Ready for this?
Buzzing. Yeah, all set, ready to go.
OK, now you know the drivers very well. You will have known this guy never missed an episode of F1 Esports Pro Championship. I missed one because of my fiancée's sister's wedding, whatever.
And I'll never let you live it down.
No, you will never let me down.
And we're all here to witness it.
Yeah, exactly. But Matt, obviously Lucas Blakely getting that win again, that's great to see. But can the Red Bull team, we just watched them there, get back to getting the team championship? Another slow start for them.
Yeah, slow start, but they have more than enough calibre in their team in order to push back, and there's 11 races to go. Plenty of time, plenty of mistakes for other teams to make as well. That you know, those two are such accomplished, experienced racers that I have no doubt they'll be winning very soon.
OK, Red Bull, do you reckon that is going to happen for them? They're going to get back to winning ways? George?
Well, Rasmussen is still fast. I mean, that's not changed. And Marcel has obviously got a bit of a recovery mission on his hands. But I think after what we saw in quali, I think it's definitely showing that he has got the pace still. So I'd still keep your eyes on Red Bull. I think they're going to be quick. OK, now Marcel Kiefer finished last in this race last season. He got off to a better start in qualifying. Matt, you run the qualifying show. What did you make of Q1?
Yeah, quali show, 3:30 if anyone wants to tune in and didn't. But yeah, it was a great qualifying session once again. We know how important qualifying is in F1 Esports. Some of the drivers like to leave it quite late, Freddie Rasmussen being one of them in Q1. Of course, big celebrations there, as always, from Freddie. But Josh Adowu, after such a near miss of a victory last time out, getting knocked out in Q1 this year, it's going to hurt a lot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he and the AlphaTauri team have brought him in from McLaren's shadow to sort of bolster that attack. Joni Tormula is in there. He was in Q2, made it through. But they're trying to build a bit of experience. Every team is trying to do something different. George, Tanitsa, the mistake sent him out.
Yeah, real big shame for Tanitsa. Obviously, like I said before in the quali show, the Piratella is so quick. Track limits are going to be an issue, I think, for a few drivers, I think, here at Imola. But nevertheless, you know, he's here to fight. You know, Ferrari, a bit of a shock, losing them in Q2.
And Brendan Lee, Hayden Gullis out as well. So Ferrari, not what they wanted when we've got a camera crew down there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be inviting Ariana back anytime soon. It doesn't seem to go well for her over there. But disappointing for Ferrari, but for Brendan Lee, he's not too far away from the point, so we're looking for a good race.
And what did you make of this? Freddie Rasmussen, he's just ice cold and makes a mistake like that. is not what we expected.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too far over to the left. I think he just tapped a wheel on the yellow sausage curbs there and just lost the rear end of it. And as you can see, very unhappy with that mistake.
Kiefer goes quickest, Matt, in Q3. But that guy, Thomas Rona, he's impressed you.
Well, absolutely. You know, he was so close to getting a great result in Bahrain and then sticks it on pole position in his second ever F1 Esports Series race. I mean, you can see what it means to him. You like how well his clothes are folded in the background and, you know, it's got a perfect setup, really.
It is a perfect setup. Is that why you've gone for an all-white top? Are you supporting Haas tonight, Matt?
No, I'm not supporting anyone. I'm a commentator, Tom. I know you're a Haas fanboy, but I have to remain professional.
You do indeed. Matthias Van Erwin of Haas making it a top 5 for both drivers. I don't think that's ever happened before. Nicolas Longue getting back to a bit of form. I predicted Daniele Haddad to step into this and do very well. I did. I just thought, you know, some of these drivers that have been around for a while, they're getting that opportunity to show what they're made of. Ferrari out of sort of in the points contention. They didn't get to Q3. Is that a surprise for you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know at this point because, you know, Brendan Lee and David Tunitsa both have world championships, but not in recent form. They haven't been the front-running team. Brendan Lee had a great comeback drive in Bahrain and got a few points, but they just put themselves on the back foot on that ultimate pace in quali.
OK, well, in Maranello is Arena Bravo. Arena, what was the atmosphere like during quali? We expected both drivers to get to Q3. That didn't happen. How tense was it?
It was disappointing. You could feel the disappointment when they didn't make it into Q3. But do you know what? Now you can feel the atmosphere building. Lights are off behind me. Things are getting serious. I caught up with them earlier. Let's see how they felt.
Well, I mean, of course, we want to be on pole position. That's why we're here. So I'm positive, though, because there's a challenge, and challenges are made to overcome. So we'll do what we have to do in the race, try make a good strategy to go into the points, then regroup, recap, then go forward into Silverstone tomorrow.
In the qualifying pace, even though we didn't achieve what we wanted, there is still some positive to take out because in Q1 we were very fast and we did some few mistakes in Q2, something that we have to work on for sure. But yeah, we talked with the team and now we are just fully concerned about the race. Of course, we are starting a bit from the back, so we're just thinking about crazy strategies that we have in our database to score as many points as we can.
I mean, the target position is going to change after lap 1 because there's so much carnage and randomness that can go on, even in the race. The other drivers are such a high caliber that even if you're doing a really amazing performance yourself, you can't rely on other people's mistakes. So for me, my target is to get in the top 10, get some points, but after that will be a bonus and see how far we can get.
So, as I said, disappointment, but feeling positive for the race. We'll see how they go when it gets to it. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Ariane. Yes, picking up from that interview, I feel like Brendan Lee, he's just so well media trained. I thought he was going to say pressure creates diamonds at one point, but they seem to be able to handle it. They're very focused, aren't they?
They are indeed a lot of focus here. As I said, the atmosphere is building as we near the race. Serious conversations going on. They are full focus, the guys here. And hopefully it will show when it comes to the race today and they'll be able to make up those positions and get to those target top 10 positions.
I feel like if we keep chatting to you any longer, you'll get told off for having that light on the camera. So you get ready for the race, Aaron. So good to have you in Maranello. Guys, I mean, Brendan Lee, David Tunitsa, they talk the talk. Now they have to deliver. They say that they can handle the pressure. Are they going to be able to do it?
Well, I mean, if all the other competitors have listened to Brendan Lee's interview there, I'd be scared. He is a man on a mission. But, you know, they are so closely contested, this entire field, that there is an opportunity, I think, for Brendan Lee starting just outside the top 10. But, yeah, David Tunitsa's going to have a bit of work to do from 15th. OK, it is your debut, George, and I'm excited to hear you on the comms. We're going to have a quick break in a second, but just that question, the main one, as all Haas fans want to know, is Thomas Rona going to take his first win?
My heart says yes. My head says I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Well, listen, that is a perfect way to segue. Go and have a break, come back, and we'll get the action underway. Welcome back to event 1 of the F1 Esports Pro Championship 2022. We've had a race in Bahrain. Now we are heading to Imola. Hayden Gullis joining me. Let's talk about strategy. How easy is it to get the overtakes in Imola, and what sort of tyres are they going to be going for?
How easy, more like how difficult is it to overtake at Imola? There's only really one main overtaking opportunity, that is down the start-finish straight. It's a very long start-finish straight, so there is the opportunity for overtaking, but it's going to be a case of, you know, filing behind and trying to see if you can get lucky, pouncing on a mistake from another driver. But most of the stuff that we're going to see is going to be in the strategy in the pit stops. Yeah,
now Lucas Blakely last year had a fantastic start, as he's done exactly again this year. He's in 3rd place at P3 to start with. What's going to be the tactics? How is he going to get that overtake on Marcel Kiefer?
Well, he's going to have to set it up well. We've seen it a lot in these races, that they are more patient in the opening part, wait for that pit stop phase and then try and see if they can do something on the strategy. And then if they can't, then they start to push that battery and see if they can try and get an overtake. But it's going to be about setup, whether they've got the lower wings on the car to see if they can go quicker down the straight than the car ahead, or, like you say, battery. It's going to be all about that.
Fountain of knowledge. So here we go then. Before I throw it to the comms team, who's going to win this?
Who's going to win it? Oh, do you know what? Debut, or not his debut, but his first series, Thomas Ronhart is going to take his first victory.
Unbelievable scenes. OK, let's go up to the commentary team. Matt Gallagher and George Morgan. Looking forward to this one?
Oh, yes, Tom. Thank you so much. One of the great throws, as always. Missing Alex Jakes. Big shout out to him. He's missed this due to some personal reasons. Big love to him and his fam. But we've got a very suitable replacement in the form of league racing legend. Commentary, at least. I don't know how you are in the actual league.
I'll take legend.
World,
Legend's
but,
good.
George Morgan, welcome to the commentary booth, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. May I just say it's an honour to be standing alongside you as well. And we're going to one of the great locations in all of motorsport, certainly all of Formula 1 as well, the Autodromo International Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, of course.
Glad you said that rather than me. So got that one out of the way. Imola, what a classic track. The fact Formula 1 went back here is something I think we are all a big fan of. Overtaking, as the guy said on the desk, quite difficult round here. It's not going to be easy, and for those that struggled in qualifying, they're going to have to try and roll the dice potentially with strategy.
I think you're absolutely right. Obviously, it's a very technical circuit, very fast-paced too, but it does have its slow-speed corners as much as its fast-speed corners. 19 corners, 78,000 capacity at this particular circuit, 25 miles east of Bologna here at Imola. But nevertheless, we will not be tasting the bolognese here. It's all about motorsport. No
bolognese for us. We will be talking you through everything that goes on for round number 2. Of course, we had such an amazing first round at Bahrain. It always kicks off the series beautifully, doesn't it? Ronhart is definitely the big talking point. On pole position for this time out. Missed a lot of points, but we did speak about it a little bit in the quali show as well. Was it a bit audacious? Will he have learnt a lot going into today?
Absolutely. I think you could put it down to a little bit of bad luck as well. I don't think he ever foresaw it going that way, but nevertheless, we know his pace. I mean, just to be on the front row or even on pole position, certainly he's showing it again in qualifying. He has got the pace. He has got the ability to certainly perform at this highest level. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, Matt.
Yeah, me too. And who else? Marcel Kiefer, of course, missed out. Got knocked out in Q1 for round 1, but he's well and truly in the mix now. We'll want to bounce back pretty nicely.
Absolutely, and it certainly is a big time for Red Bull, because obviously Rasmussen wasn't quite on form at the start of the championship, because of course he did have to drop back after that little issue with Ronhart. Also Marcel now up at the top end as well, so we look forward to seeing how they get on, but we're only a matter of moments away now before we head into racing action, folks. So I hope you're all joining us for this one, as we're about to obviously line up and get started here at Imola, here at the heart of Emilia-Romagna. And as you can see, all 5 lights now lit. And it is pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Thomas Ronhart off the front row gets the best jump of all. Marcel Kiefer, though, however, goes along with him. They are side by side, heading down through towards Tamburello. Lucas Blakely tracking the pair of them. Kiefer, though, with the upper hand, heading in towards turn 1 and 2. It's Kiefer on top. The perfect response after Bahrain. Further back as well, Daniel Eddad going off circuit, but still Kiefer leads. You can see as well Matthias van Erven dropping back 2 places. Ronhart swallowed up by Lucas Blakely. He's now up into to P2, Matt Gallagher.
Oh, he's had another struggle of a start, has Ronha, but look, he just needs to settle down now. P3 is not the end of the world. However, another driver I've seen dropping, well, we've seen Simon Weigand getting a penalty, but also Barry Burman down to P9 in the McLaren. Not the ideal start, but Lucas Blakely in the pound seats in P2.
He is. He's looking very comfortable indeed. Has come out of qualifying, got off the line very quickly. He was tracking the front two. Kiefer getting the upper hand through Tamburello. We know how tricky it is at that segment of corners. Certainly the swift left and right that you have to take. Obviously, Kiefer had the better line. He hung it around the outside, had a nosing front into Tamburello. Ronha had to step back out of it. But obviously, Longuet as well. He's up there in 4th. Matthias van Erven, a bit of a somber start, dropped back to 6th, but he's still there. Rasmussen in 7th place.
Let's talk as well. Jarno Opmeer, P16. So he just managed to make P10 in Q3, but he is down to 16th. Apparently had some sort of spin on the opening laps. He's got a lot of work to do, as that looks like Barry Burman shaping up a move on Brendan Lee for P8. No DRS available, but it looks as though the McLaren Shadow driver has made that move.
Yeah, very good move indeed for Barry. Ahead now of Brendan Lee, who is now sat in 9th spot. He's got Philip Prejnader right in behind him. Alvaro Caraton trying to get closer to Joni Tormala as well. In fact, he's very close indeed as they work their way up towards Tosa. There we're seeing certainly them wind their way through. There's Matthias van Erven. We have in picture coming out of Tosa at turn 7. They've got the Piratella coming up next, the little incline rise before they then take the fast left-hander before then ducking deep into Aqua Minerale. There you can see them now. 3/10 is the separate. As there we can see Danny Moreno. We've got an instant replay now, folks. This is of certainly some of the moves we're seeing into Villeneuve.
Jarno Opmeer. That's from behind.
That explains it, Matt.
Tagged from behind, Opmeer completely sent him into a 360, and that has tumbled him down. So he had a great start up to P8, made a couple of positions up just like he did in Bahrain. But unfortunately for Jarno, that is a massive amount of time lost. You'd imagine whoever did make that contact from the rear will receive a penalty of some sort from the stewards. Remember, we do have stewards here that will be reviewing every single incident. As, yeah, Opmeer, a lot of work to do from 16th.
Yeah. Fastest lap's been recorded as well. Barry Burman currently holds it in the very early stages. Lap 3 of 32. DRS now enabled. You'll now see the overtakes starting to happen more and more vigorously. Not to say that we haven't had any already. We've had some super moves. Marcel Kiefer still leads, just over 3.5 tenths, separating him and Lucas Blakely. Of course, Blakely winning our first race of the championship at Bahrain. There's Freddie Rasmussen, fresh from the heartbreak that was certainly their session earlier on, the anger that certainly flooded them through qualifying after he spun coming out of Aqua Minerale. He's going to look to recover now. As he now makes his way through the next left at a Ravazza. Well, certainly heading down through this next left instead in towards Aqua Minerale, not Ravazza, apologies. Currently sat in 7th, chasing after Matthias van Erven, who's currently in P6. Half a second is the gap. He started 9th, he's now 7th. But looking further down, Daniele Haddad trying to gap Jarno Opmeer, but the Flying Dutchman still right on his tail, just above 2/10 away. So Jarno not content.
Keeping an eye on tyre strategies, it looks like a lot of the drivers, as we saw in Bahrain, going for the hard compound tyre to start, and that's mainly because of this new F122 game where you have to warm up the tyres after you make a pit stop, and those hard tyres are like basically being on ice, and it's not something you want to be changing onto. So a lot of the drivers deciding, right, let's start on the white wall, as Blakely now has DRS available, and shock horror, we have a 20-car DRS train once again.
Yeah, absolutely. It only takes one car to break the train though. We'll certainly have plenty of those opportunities heading through these chicanes. We saw Josh Ido, as we now know his surname is. Ido.
Well, Ido. I never knew that.
No, we learned today.
We learned it from the quali show. Thanks, Tom Deacon.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, absolutely. Josh Ido, obviously now sat in 20th place, not having the race that he had last time out, albeit he did crash out in last season's event, but nevertheless he's on a recovery mission for the AlphaTauri team, as we're now seeing them make their way through Aqua Minerale. There's Lucas Blakely, still marshalling the deficit of just over, or just under now, 4.5 tenths. Has dipped into the high 3s now as they head into the next chicane. Very, very tight this one. You want to be careful of the curbs, but you can get a good launch heading down towards Ravazza, and you can open the door heading into Ravazza 1 because you have got this descent. If you're late on the brakes and you're side by side, it's a great opportunity for an overtake if you can indeed pull it off. In towards Ravazza 2, Kiefer still holds the lead. Lucas Blakely in second, Ronha holding firm there in third place, as he has done since the start. I get the feeling, though, Matt, that Ronha will be seething after losing top spot, but he's just set a fastest lap.
Absolutely. I think another person that may be seething is Brendan Lee. I think he's picked up damage somewhere, you know, George, because he has fallen off the back of Buremand by quite some margin and has been passed by both Przneda and Tanitsa. Has Lee picked up some sort of damage around this circuit that is going to cost him a lot of time in this race? There he is under pressure again now from Tormela.
Yeah, Joni Tormela, who certainly showed to be in a class of his, certainly his own last season, managed to gather some big points last season, goes down the outside now of Brendan Lee, who's got the damage. Obviously, Brendan Lee, fresh from suffering that little bit of damage to his car. Those top 10 ambitions are going to be very tricky, as now tracking him is Joni Tormela in through the Piratella at turn 7. They'll then take the slip in towards Aqua Minerale. There you can see Brendan Lee still trying to hold on, as you can now see Tanitsa starting to pull away from Brendan Lee, of course, former two-time world champion. He's now got Tormela hovering all over him, and we all know about him. He's very difficult to shake.
He really is. Brendan Lee's got his light flashing at the back of his car, which would suggest that he has got some battery problems, but perhaps reading a little bit too much into that. But either way, Lee really struggling at the moment. We now take a look at the front once again. Just like we saw in Bahrain, the pace is being managed somewhat. Will Blakely decide to try and lead from the front and pass Marcel Kiefer? It's a big enough straight in order to give you the opportunity. Does Blakely have a little look?
He certainly might do. He's tracking, certainly Kiefer right now. Doesn't choose to open the door on this occasion as they head through Tamburello. In behind, though, Thomas Ronhart setting yet another fastest lap of the race. Remember, he does hold the fastest lap at Bahrain as well, so this will be another one that he could add to his locker, as long as he can hold on to it. No questions about the Dutchman's pace. Nicolas Longuet in 4th, with Danny Moreno, the Spaniard, in 5th. With Matthias van Erven in 6th as well. Freddie Rasmussen trying to chase after him. But look at the gap between Philip Przneda and Barry Buremand. Is now above 2 seconds as Sipos has moved into 17th. Joni Tormela dropping down into 18th. And we now have some team radio from Jarno Opmeer.
Also, my engine is overheating, which is something I've never had before. Also, my engine is overheating.
So engine overheating, that might be something that Brendan Lee is also suffering with. Perhaps that's what's going on right now. And Jarno says he's never experienced this before, which is kind of strange considering how many hours the likes of Jarno Opmeer would have done. But yeah, struggling at the moment is Jarno. P15 hasn't made much progress, and crucially for him, Brendan Lee has caused there to be a different DRS train, and the front of that, Brendan Lee, is not in the points. So Jarno is looking at 0 right now.
Yeah, and another man who could be looking at 0 is David Tanitsa. He's currently in no man's land, but we got a battle for the lead. Lucas Blakely now leads, heading into Tamburello, and takes the lead in lap 7. Marcel Kiefer now with Thomas Ronhart looking to come into the scrap as well. We got a three-way fight as they now head into Villeneuve chicane, and as they do so, still Blakely on top, fresh from a win yesterday. He now leads here at Emilia-Romagna. It was a corker of a move there, Matt Gallagher.
Oh, I love that from Blakely. He's like, right, I want to lead from the front again. It worked for me in Bahrain. I'm going to do it here as well in Imola. Ronhart is looking very feisty as well, getting quite close to the back of that Red Bull, but he'll also know how fragile his front wing is after what happened against Marcel Kiefer's teammate Rasmussen last time out. So I'd imagine the Haas team would have just spoken to him, gone, look, Ronhart, you're looking very good this year. Let's just get a podium. That'll be great to start off with. Let's build from there. But you can imagine Ronhart is absolutely loving the fact we're chatting about him. He's joined F1 Esports. He's having a great time. He wants to get stuck in and win the race.
And look how calm and composed. You can just see him in picture there as well, folks, sitting in the rig, just literally just tracking what's going on in front of him. Lucas Blakely and Marcel Kiefer have been having afters heading into Tamburello. He's just sitting back, waiting for the right opportunity. This is brilliant racing maturity from this young man. Obviously, he's proven time and time and again in league racing. Fastest lap now going to Simon Weigang, who currently sits in 11th place. He's also picked up a penalty as well for his troubles too. Not looking good for AlphaTauri. Joni Tormela, after that issue, now at the back, propping up his teammate Josh Idawu in 19th. It's been heartbreak for AlphaTauri.
I do.
I do. I do. I do, Matt Gallagher. I do, Matt Gallagher.
Yeah, it is not working out for AlphaTauri at the moment, unfortunately for them. Bianca Lila as well in 18th. We've got another replay coming from Ronar to take a look at what happened for the battle for the lead here. So Blakely just sized up the move quite nicely, took to the inside. Kiefer didn't defend it too much. He knows that it doesn't really matter at this stage who leads. You can carry on, Blakely, and I'll save some more energy. Kiefer may be thinking at this particular stage, what's Ron Haar's ERS looking like? About 60%, so plenty in the tank for attack later on.
Yeah, you'll be saving that up, waiting to certainly strike. Certainly Ron Haar, we know how good he is at finishing races, certainly from pre-season, but heading into this one, obviously this is a different kettle of fish with the drivers that he's up against in a championship of this very magnitude. Haas will be watching on, hoping that their new youngster can pull off something magical here at Imola as they're now heading towards Tamburello. Lucas Blakely still leads. David Tanica has just overtaken Prejnader. He's managed to pull that and reel in that 2-second gap, and he's done so brilliantly. But as we're looking as well, Brendan Lee also dropping down the order. Is there a problem with that Ferrari?
It looks that way. I can't imagine Brendan Lee is going to be too happy with how his race is unfolding at the moment. 16th, and that is very much out of the points. Jarno Opmeer now up to 14th, but still a few seconds off the back of P10, which is currently Philip Prejnader. Weigang picked up that penalty on lap 1, so I do wonder whether that will be investigated and potentially removed, but we'll have to wait and see until after the race. There's Marcel Kiefer, currently P2. Just sitting there, knows, well, he's been around the block plenty of times, he knows how to win races, doesn't necessarily have to lead the train, and as we saw in Bahrain, it all kicks off around the pit stops.
It does. You're absolutely spot on, Matt. Obviously, you know, since they will be stopping soon, that's when the strategies come into play, and we've got Brendan Lee now all over, hovering around Manuel Biancalila. He's dropped down into 18th place. We've got team radio from Marcel Kiefer.
In a moment, we will have team radio from Marcel Kiefer, as that is Brendan Lee being passed again. Yeah, he is suffering from a straight line speed loss there, it definitely seems. Even with the use of DRS, could not defend from Josh Idu. So that is not working out for Brendan Lee. We will, I'm sure, find out more about that later on. Here's Marcel Kiefer coming under pressure from Ron Haar. Longuet looking very strong as well. Moreno, Van Erven, Rasmussen, they're all in the fight. Oh, it goes down to P8 with Burremand, and then it's a 3-second gap back to Tanica. So I'd imagine a Van Erven, a Rasmussen, Burremand, roll the dice, try and get in the mix here, get in the fight with Blakely, Kiefer and Ron Haar. That's the way they do it. They can't really fight in this DRS train right now.
No, not at all, but you've got to give it to the Haas pairing. Obviously, Matthias Van Erven in good points here, P6, tracking Danny Moreno. Very impressed with Matthias Van Erven this season. Obviously, he had his chance in the car last season, and in some of the races that we saw him, he showed some of that pace, some of that we've seen. He is now back again this season, and is showing to be a stern contender for those big points. Haas could run away with something really, really spectacular here. Is Marcel Kiefer now, and we have his team radio.
Just use this opportunity to save some earth behind Blakely, Marcel. Moreno on 1 warning in 5th.
As thought then, a bit of saving of ERS. I think we caught a glimpse of his steering wheel there, and it looked around 85% the battery store for Kiefer, so that is plenty in the tank when we get to the pit stops. Of course, as we mentioned, hard tyres for a lot of these front runners, if not everybody by the looks of things. I've not seen anything other than a white wall tyre at the front, and it'll mean that, well, I mean, we saw in Bahrain, it wasn't just the same strategy for everybody. We had hard to mediums for a lot of the front runners, but then you had Brendan Lee, Nicolas Longuet making it work by going an extra 5, maybe even 10 laps on the hards and then whacking on the softs and going on the attack. There are a few options available to these drivers.
Yeah, certainly if you started further down the grid, I think if you go that little bit longer on the hards, I think you might want to roll the dice and just see what it gives you, and that's certainly something we could see this time. Obviously the likes of Jarno Opmeer now, who will be looking to try and fight for more places, they might think, oh, maybe we'll stay out for a little bit longer and just see what the race gives us at this point. Thomas Ron Haar, though, coming out of the final corners, commencing his lap 12 of 32, tracking that of Marcel Kiefer with half a second ahead. Lucas Blakely, these three have pretty much been spearheading the way. Obviously, we've seen a few tie-ups now between Blakely and Kiefer, which has been brilliant to see nonetheless. Longuet as well, just tracking those in behind. Moreno still in 5th. Philip Prejnader once again closing to David Tanica. That gap between Tanica Kiefer and Buraman now out to 3.2 seconds. Barry is certainly trying to pull that gap in, obviously following the train, because Tanitsa is out of DRS. It obviously makes it that much harder for the Italian to close up.
It does indeed, and you don't want to be wasting all your ERS at this stage of the race. It will just leave you as a sitting duck once all the pit stops have worked out. Marcel Kiefer, once again, we're tracking him now. Great to see him near the front of the field after a disappointing first round. He said he was going to bounce back, and he wasn't lying to us. Here he is, P2, very much in the mix for a victory here in Imola. But Lucas Blakely, he has impressed everybody, has he not? Last year, of course, he won some races, one of the most dominating races I've ever seen in Portugal. Just drove away from the field, and he has kept the form going, despite saying to me, Matt, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be quick on this game just because you were quick last game. Well, forget that, Lucas. I mean, you're clearly lying to me, mate, because you are just as good on this game, if not better.
He's been sensational. I think he's really adopted the new style of this game. Obviously, the technical regulation changes. I think, obviously, that's where you can compare it. Jarno Opmeer now with a move certainly on Daniel Dad, who is trying to certainly trying to stir up some trouble in behind as well. We got Tomek Paradzic as well coming into the fight of this as they come out of Tamburello and heading into towards the Villeneuve Bends as well. Daniel Dad now holding on to 14th. He has dropped down 7 places. Opmeer down 3. Caraton, though, having a great race. He's at 4.
So Opmeer now 1.2 behind Caraton. He's going to probably use a bit of energy, if he has it, to try and get then the use of DRS onto the back of Alvaro Caraton. Don't worry, everybody. I know you might be thinking, it's not actually kicked off too much. Well, if you remember Bahrain, we did have a very slow burner at the start, but the pit stops are soon to come. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. I believe that might have been something to do with Shipos and Bianca Lila, as that was, change of position. Shipos has now been passed by Brendan Lee. So I imagine there was some kind of incident there, but it's been quickly cleared, and we're back to green flag across the whole track.
Plenty of jumbling up through the order, of course. We did say how treacherous Imola can be. The curbs are obviously very treacherous. You don't want to be treading too far and hard on them.
Oh, Freddie's in.
Oh, yeah, Freddie in the pits. That's our first car in the pit lane. The strategy's now being unravelled now, Matt.
Here we go. Turn off the kettle if you're about to get a cup of tea. Don't. Come sit down. It's about to all kick off now. Freddie Rasmussen, the first to roll the dice, puts on the medium tyres. Whereabouts is he going to filter out? Will it be with anybody? Will he get the use of DRS whilst following them? I think he's going to come out in clean air.
Yeah, I think he will do. He's going to have plenty of space, and this is where he needs to put the hammer down now. Needs to make the most of this pit stop phase. Obviously, all the drivers now will be challenged to respond to that move from Rasmussen to box. Many of them might want to choose to box now too. Obviously, we'll have to see what the leaders do. Blakely making up his own racing lines there, I think, Matt.
That'll definitely be a warning. And remember, if you get 3 warnings, that'll be a penalty for track limit violations. Blakely maybe knowing that this is the time to push.
Yeah, maybe. Taking a very wide line through Piratella before Acqua Minerale. They've now got the chicane, which they're now taking. Still Blakely leads. Marcel Kiefer perhaps starting to make the Scot a little nervous in behind here right now. Ronha is there too, just over 4/10 in behind. Moreno trying to close up to Longue as well. Such a train of cars making their way through. Now the big question is, will anybody box at the front end? Blakely stays out. Kiefer comes in. Sensational. Red Bull both going early. Danny Moreno comes in. So does Matthias van Erven. So one Haas does come in.
They want the track position. George, I think they want the track position for Red Bull. They're both going on the attack. The undercut doesn't necessarily work, as we saw with Opmeer in Bahrain. Sometimes staying out, staying away from all the chaos can work in your favour. But Red Bull think, let's get in the pits early. Let's try and set some blistering lap times once those mediums are up to temperature and try and get ahead of Lucas Blakely.
Yeah, we know that both Red Bull drivers are exceptionally quick. Marcel Kiefer was certainly very rapid in qualifying, as was Rasmussen up until the DNF. Of course, well, should we say the crash out in Q3.
Look at that,
and
Rasmussen.
You can see them, look at them, nose to tail. So this could work here. They just need to pull up. Obviously, Rasmussen's managed to close the gap. Kiefer really needs to go on a sterling send now. He has got certainly a lot of time to catch. Blakely, I would imagine he's got to respond this lap here.
That's worked absolutely beautifully for Freddie Rasmussen. He has got himself right in the hunt for this victory with only 1 lap older tyres than his teammate Marcel Kiefer. Now, what do you do if you're Blakely, Ronha, Longue? Do you react immediately? Do you stick to the game plan? Because, of course, they'll be quicker now, will the Red Bulls, but they might tail away a little bit towards the end. This is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's whether they go now or whether they do hang on. Blakely's in, so's Ronha, Longue, they've all come in. Buraman staying out, of course, because Blakely's in, and we've got plenty of other cars now making their way past the paddock. They don't think it's the right time. Ronha He is there in the pit lane now, looking to bail into his spot, and they'll make the necessary changes. Medium tyres being taken off the car. And on they go now, coming out of the pit lane. Medium tyres on the car, should I say, as they now make their way through. Now, where's Freddie Rasmussen? Where's Marcel Kiefer? They've already boxed. They'll be flying down this straight. Will Blakely hold on to his net advantage as they come out? Blakely is still in front, certainly ahead of Kiefer, or is he? As Thomas Ronhaar drops in behind Freddie Rasmussen. It's worked so well for Freddie. He is now in behind his teammate, not far behind Blakely. This is incredible.
The undercut has worked beautifully. Look at them. They're now not being particularly nice with each other, it has to be said. Ronhaar getting swallowed a little bit. Danny Moreno's now got ahead of the Haas driver as the Alfa Romeo has a look up the inside. I'm not sure if there was a bit of a tag from Van Erven behind. They're all squirreling around trying to jostle for position. But Freddie Rasmussen, Marcel Kiefer, Red Bull have entered the fray.
They certainly have now. Now they will be teaming up on Blakely. All Blakely will be able to see is two Red Bulls starting to probe the rear of his McLaren. He's going to have to be so alert, so on the measure, certainly against these two very talented drivers. Rasmussen, a champion in his own right as well. He has scored many sim racing championships. He is such a professional. Marcel Kiefer as well, relentless behind the wheel of his sim rig as they make their way down through towards the next double left-hander at Rivazza. There's Matthias Van Erven, obviously really will be seething at the fact that the Red Bulls have managed to jump him. Obviously Longuet is in front of him as well, but there you can see the Haas driver making his way down the straight now. He'll open up the DRS, of course, already making their stops. There's only 4 cars currently out on track that are yet to stop. Blakely still leads though. There you can see Danny Moreno, he's also been thrown into the mix.
He has indeed, but we've got a difference in strategies unfolding here as well. Barry Burman has not come into the pits. So will that be a longer hard tyre strategy for the McLaren to then stick on some softs and try and make it through this big old DRS train, which Van Erven is at the back of at the moment? This is going to unfold beautifully over the next 15 laps. Lucas Blakely, it's a role reversal. He had his teammate to help him last time out in Bahrain. No such thing this time. It's Kiefer and Rasmussen, and they know how to work together, I can promise you that.
They certainly do. They did it at Brazil last season when they tried to usurp Jarno Opmeer's title. Obviously, Marcel Kiefer trying to do his best to slow the pack down in order to bring Freddie into the mix. It very nearly worked as well. It could have been a very dramatic ending to the championship, to say the least, as they now make their way out of the chicane. They've then got Rivazza 1 and 2 to take on their lap 18 of 32. Burman now in the pits. Bianca Lila now usurps him, as well as Prejnader and Opmeer. Prejnader now the leader out on track, but the net leader in terms of pit stops is that of Lucas Blakely, Barry Burman's teammate. There is Burman. Now, where is he going to come out? This is going to be so key. They're going to be very close on pit escape. There goes Blakely. Oh, he's dropping back. He is dropping back. Kiefer has gone ahead. So's Rasmussen, Moreno, Ronhaar, Longuet, Van Erven. Burman has got it all to do.
He really does, and he's got to get these tyres up to temperature, and he might well bring David Tanitsa with him once he finally gets on with it. Looked like he'd used a lot of energy as well on the way into the pits, so it's not as if he's been resting on his laurels at the moment. So Barry Burman has got it all to do. He's got fresher tyres. He has to now push to get onto the back of Van Erven. Here's Danny Moreno, currently P7. We've got a few pit stops yet to unfold. Prejnader and Opmeer and Bianca Lila, the 3 that have yet to stop. But yeah, it just seems very difficult at the moment, George, to get through with the help of DRS and the fact that everybody has DRS in this train. It is very difficult around Imola. It's no shock to anyone that follows Formula 1. It's hard round here.
It certainly is very tight around Imola, certainly to say the least. All 19 corners, very tricky. Of course, this track that gifted last season's winner David Tanitsa a win in the championship. And of course, it's a very different picture on this occasion. Obviously, no such luck for them this time. Tanitsa currently sat in 12th place, as Blakely now takes them round yet again, net leader of this race. Obviously, 3 drivers in the top 3 still yet to box. That's Prejnader, Opmeer and Bianca Lila. Fastest lap for Simon Weigang. He has been so impressive with his pace. Obviously, unfortunately, down in 14th spot, but nevertheless, great to see Simon back at it as they now make their way in towards the Villeneuve bend. There is certainly Freddie Rasmussen trying to gain on his teammate Marcel Kiefer. The big question is, will they issue maybe a team order or two, or would it be the case that Kiefer takes them all the way? They've both got to catch Blakely. There's got to be some teamwork involved here.
I don't think they'll be too afraid to deploy team orders. They know that the money is made in the team's championship. We saw the McLaren drivers swap in Bahrain. It just depends who they think is quick enough. Blakely looks quite strong at the moment, looks as if he's kind of got it under control and pushed on maybe on that last lap to make it 8/10. It's now down to 6. He really wants to break DRS, but that is going to be a big mountain to climb for Blakely to try and run away from this massive queue of cars. Ronha, he's going to maybe just get a little bit frustrated. The fact he was on pole position, dropped a couple of places, he's dropped another couple in the pit stops. It's not working out for someone that clearly has the pace to not only get pole position here, but have apparently every time trial world record you see.
Yeah, absolutely right. So you can do it in time trial, but not. It doesn't necessarily happen in the race. Danny Moreno getting so close to the back of Freddie Rasmussen now. This would be the last thing that Rasmussen would like to see in his rear-view mirror. Of course, the Spaniard, who has been absolutely sensational himself in pre-season. We've seen so much from Moreno in the past season. Of course, partnering Jarno Watmir for Mercedes title charge last year, and has once again returned. And this time hovering all over the back of the Danish wonder, or certainly mastermind, that is Freddie Rasmussen, who has certainly delivered on many an occasion. Moreno still tracking, currently sat in 7th place, just over 0.3 of a second as they head through this next left. The deltas there you can see, and certainly the pace heading into Aqua Minerale as they now make the almighty climb, heading up through towards the next chicane. And here on lap 20 of 32, now comes the time where a lot of drivers start to make some big decisions. Only 12 laps left, Matt. They've really got to try and close. Blakely currently holds the advantage. Yeah, they're not going to be nice for too much longer. I can promise you that one. Jarno Watmir's passed Prejneda at some point and now comes into the pits. So this will be interesting to see where Otmir filters out. I can't imagine it's going to be anywhere near the top 10 once this pit stop is made. There goes... Oh, is that the medium tyres going on that Mercedes? It does seem that way. So they don't believe that the softs is a viable strategy. Instead, they're just going to use them like their qualifying tyres for the next 11 or so laps. And where's Jarno Watmir going to filter out? Is it P11? No, it's further down than that. He's still falling, and it's 15th for Jarno Watmir. That's a lot of work to do to get any points. Tried to roll the dice there, I think, Matt, but it did not work out. He's now down into 16th. Remember, he was in 13th, 14th, battling in that sort of segment. He has now dropped further down. It hasn't worked out for him. Obviously, we still have yet another 11 laps to go. Ronha sat in 6th, just under 0.3 behind that to Danny Moreno. Certainly Blakely holding a very good advantage. Matthijs van Urban now on Barry Burman. He's got up to P7 and looking further down. Longe has dropped back too. Tanica up into 9th. So there we have it, some big moves and shakers. The two Haas drivers now together as Ronha looks to try and come forward. He's got Moreno still in front of him here, but maybe an opportunity now for Haas to bring themselves into the fight.
I feel like there may have been a bit of wheel banging in that particular moment. And let's hear from Danny Moreno, currently 5th.
They are really slow, man. Come on. So I know if I get Freddie, I can get Marcel.
That's just a statement. I mean, what I would say to that, George, is we're going past them then.
Yeah,
if they're too slow, just go past them.
I think that's a fair assumption. I think that's absolutely fair, absolutely right. Obviously, if you've got the pace, Danny, send it. But no, nevertheless, it looks like that there was an issue with Longe's car. He's come into the pit, so that's a second stop. Not good at all. We all saw that jumbling for position, where we saw Matthijs van Urban jump into 7th place. That would, of course, have been that maybe a bit of contact with Nicolas Longe there, who once again suffering, this time in a race situation as opposed to the quali situation from yesterday. So once again, it hampers that of the Frenchman.
Oh, it's such a shame. I feel like every single year Longe takes part, we look back at his season and go, oh, well, you know, he had pole there and the win there, but then he didn't score here, or he had a difficult race there. He's had such a poor start to this year as well. It's such a shame to see such a talent like Longe that we know can get poles and victories not be able to convert in 2022 at the moment. Here's Jarno Watmir. We've been speaking about him. He is on a slightly different strategy to everybody else, much fresher medium tyres. How much time has he got to make up? Maybe about 4 or 5 seconds to get onto the back of Simon Weigang, who is currently holding that penalty. So it'll be interesting if Jarno, if anyone can do it, right? Jarno Watmir, 2-time champion, back-to-back, can probably do it.
He was master of the reverse strat last season, and let's see if he can pull something off here. Of course, he's got Tomek Paragic just ahead of him. Of course, the benefit of DRS will prove to be very, very useful indeed for the Flying Dutchman. Goes past that of Tomek Paragic, and he now moves into 14th place. Obviously, still a ways to go before he gets into the points, but nevertheless, great to see a move anyway, heading in towards Tamburello. He's now got to catch up to Josh Ido, who's currently sat in 13th place, 2.2 seconds away. Jarno Opmeer, he's got the pace. I'm sure he can do it.
We will see. He's going to be quite a lot quicker at this phase of the race, and all the way till the end, to be honest, as Bianca Lila has picked up a 3-second time penalty. You can only imagine that will be for corner cutting. Has not come into the pits yet. If you're just tuning in, Bianca Lila is not leading this race on merit. He still has to pit. It is Blakely, Kiefer, Rasmussen, Moreno, Ronhaar, your top 5. And it's Van Erven, Burremand, Tanitsa, Weigang and Caraton will be the end of the points finishers once Bianca Lila comes into the pits. And then Weigang, whether or not that penalty stands, we will wait and see. Danny Moreno, the lead Mercedes driver, has a task on his hands now. Jarno Opmeer managed to salvage more points than maybe we expected from the McLarens yesterday. What can Moreno do about the 2 Red Bulls ahead? They'll, of course, go on the attack to Blakely. That may well open up a window of opportunity for Danny Moreno to get involved.
Yeah, fastest lap for Jarno Opmeer as well. Blakely has got to do it, well, certainly do all he can to try and defend against the Red Bull onslaught that could be coming up right behind him. Kiefer in second, Rasmussen still in third, with Moreno in the mix in 4th place. Of course, you've got 2 Hasses there, which is Thomas Ronhaar and Matthias van Erven, with Barry Burremand in 7th. Of course, Tanitsa now, a big gap, 2.7, with Weigang in behind those as well. So they're very much in no man's land, nowhere near DRS, certainly as things stand, with Alvaro Caraton right on the rear of Weigang. As you can now see, the contingent now making their way up towards the Tosa, no, certainly the Piratella. Fast left, Daniel Haddad, right in the mix of these. He's chasing after Josh Ido, who you can just see in front of him as they head through Aqua Minerale, in behind Jarno Opmeer as well, who's just boxed. In fact, he's managed to do very well to close on to the cars ahead of him here. So certainly that alternate strategy working out for Jarno Opmeer, fighting potentially for some points.
Yep. 1 or 2 points will be a big salvage for Jarno Opmeer. I was just about to say, can we have a look at Ronhaar? He's looking like he wants to get through on Danny Moreno, if anything. That gap was coming down to around 0.2 of a second. Moreno coming under a bit of pressure from Ronhaar, who's running 40% or so ERS battery, which is enough, I'd say, to go on the attack, but maybe not as much as Ronhaar would have hoped for at this stage of the race. It'll be really intriguing to see what Lucas Blakely is running. He's been dragging this DRS train the entire race. Will he have enough to defend from Kiefer and Rasmussen? We know that they are absolute geniuses when it comes to battery saving. Rasmussen, for example, last year at Silverstone, passing Moreno for the victory on the last lap. It's going to be fascinating to watch, but you best believe Kiefer and Rasmussen are not there for 2nd and 3rd.
No, absolutely not. Coming into the closing stages, you'd imagine they will go full send. They've got 2 cars currently in the podium places. They'll want at least one of them up on the top spot, to say the least. Lucas Blakely in 1st. The gap still around about half a second. It's sprung out to around 0.6, with Rasmussen now in 3rd, Moreno in 4th. Kiefer doing all he can to try and rein that time gap back in. Blakely doing a wonderful job, though. His pace in these new cars has been certainly sensational. His race pace in particular, as there we see Daniel Haddad now, who is currently at the mercy of Jarno Opmeer, heading down into Ravazza. This will give Jarno Opmeer certainly a perfect opportunity to tee up a potential move down the straight. He's right in the slipstream of the Italian here at his home circuit. Certainly Jarno can look to try and pull himself higher up this grid order as they now make their way down the long straight, past the paddock and the pit lane, heading down now in towards Tamburello. Will he open the door? Not quite. Able just to move the car into a defensive position. Daniel Haddad closing off any sort of approach there from Jarno Opmeer, but certainly the pace on those younger medium tyres will go a long way to the Dutchman's cause.
It will indeed. Haddad and Ido, if he can get through on those 2, Opmeer may well find himself with 1 championship point once Weigang's penalty is applied. Thing to remember as we look back more towards the front of the field is that Rasmussen has 2 lap older mediums than Blakely, which may well mean that the McLaren driver can at least fend off one of the Red Bulls at the end. Marcel Kiefer's not exactly troubling Blakely at the moment, but that may well be because he's storing up that beautiful battery to 100% to go on the big attack. We don't know. Be good to ride on board with Kiefer to see what that is saying at the moment. But Ronhaar, again, looking like the feistiest driver in this sort of top 5. Burremand also trying to shape up a move on Van Erven for P6. It's all very calm and composed at the moment, George, but I have a feeling it might well not be that way in 5 laps time.
I get the feeling Moreno, I think from his team radar that we spotted earlier, I think he was more nervous. I think about Thomas Ronhaar, but here we have now Jarno Watmere making a move on Danny Elliott-Dad for that 12th spot. He'll get it done surely before Tamburello. He has the Jarno Watmere now up into 12th, now chasing after Josh Ido, as now you see, getting a little bit messy there, Danny Elliott-Dad heading in towards that chicane, but on the outset now, the Mercedes up into 12th. He's gained a couple of places, and now he's got Josh Ido in front. Now, not forgetting, if he gets ahead of Josh Ido, chases after Alvaro Caraton, Simon Weigang does have a time penalty, so there is more opportunities for points on the table for everyone in the bottom 10.
It certainly is. Ronhaar, as we're taking a look at right now, 0.3 of a second less than behind Moreno. He's really trying to size up a move. Is Thomas Ronhaar has made a massive statement in his debut season in the F1 Esports Series. Can he possibly get a decent exit out of this last corner and trouble Moreno? Moreno said, look, they're really slow. It looks like he's coming under pressure more from behind than he is putting pressure on in front.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Ronhaar now starting to get closer and closer. Moreno, I think, a little bit more concerned as time goes on. Obviously, as long as this race goes on, he's very conscious of the fact that there's a podium on the table. Jarno Watmere making moves again, this time at the expense of Josh Ido. Goes ahead now into 11th place and starts making a charge now. And Alvaro Caraton, the Dutchman, is on fire right now. He has got half the tyre life of those ahead of him. Of course, Caraton 13 laps, Jarno Watmere 7 laps, and he'll put those to work.
He will indeed. He hasn't got many laps to do it, though. Can Jarno Watmere get past Caraton by the end of this race? It'd have to be around a second a lap to catch Caraton, who will have DRS on Weigang ahead, so it's not going to be the easiest move in the world, but he has got a lot fresher tyres, as we say. Now we're riding on board with the McLaren shadow driver of Barry Buremund, currently 7th. Didn't have the greatest of starts to this race, and it just shows you lose positions at the start. It's very, very difficult to make them up. Ronhaar, of course, from pole position, hasn't been able to get any further up the field than P5. Buremund cannot help Blakely as we enter this final part of the race.
No, he's currently sandwiched. He's got, he's got plenty of Haas cars ahead of him. He's got Danny Moreno, and then there's Marcel Kiefer and Freddie Rasmussen in 2nd and 3rd. Lucas Blakely in 1st. He is still doing exceptionally well to keep those Red Bulls in behind, but Barry Buremund not able to assist his teammate at this point. Obviously currently sat in 7th and struggling to try and attack those in the Haas that are ahead of him as they now make their way down through towards Villeneuve. Still Blakely on top, 4/10 is all that separates them. Marcel Kiefer in 2nd, Rasmussen holding his own in 3rd. Moreno doing absolutely sensationally in 4th place as well, though I'm sure would want the podium place, but don't count him out. We've still got just over 3 laps still to go. Plenty more action to be had. A lot can happen in that magical 3 laps. Let's wait and see.
Jarno Watmere's flying out there. 1.7 seconds the gap now to Caraton. I wouldn't be surprised if he clears him and Weigang at this rate that he is going right now. 1.5 the gap. You just watch it. It keeps tumbling. Jarno Watmere wants at least a couple of points to take away in that Mercedes. It is massive damage limitation for Jarno Watmere as Barry Buremund gets all out of shape as he tries to attack Van Erven as we're about to enter lap 30. Blakely still looks absolutely in control, George.
He's cruising, Matt. He's absolutely cruising. He's loving life. He's up to 8.5 tenths. Simon Weigang and Alvaro Caraton starting to certainly duel Weigang. No, should I say, battling with Tanitsa. He's currently just under a 10th of a second away from the Ferrari. Sat in 9th. Obviously, Tanitsa trying to put up a bit of a fight. I think there might have been some trouble, though. 2 seconds that timing tower has dropped down by. Obviously, not quite sure what's gone on there, but certainly Weigang right in the mix of something. Thomas Ronhaar is also right in the rear of Danny Moreno. This could all pop off now in these final couple of laps in this race. It's going to be sensational. Ronhaar right in behind Moreno. Rasmussen trying to be the cork in the bottle to stop any approach coming in from the Mercedes, at the same time conscious of the fact that Kiefer is fighting for the race win.
Kiefer's slowly eking that advantage back to Blakely now. It's half a second, now it's 6/10 as I say it. Blakely is just trying desperately to keep it at around that gap. If it gets to 4/10, then he's going to start to get a little bit concerned. Ronhaar got a great run last time out to try and get past Moreno, but it seemed as though the Mercedes just had that extra bit of straight line speed down the main straight. Ronhaar, what can he do? Can he make it up to P4? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, we certainly will do. We won't have long though, Matt. It certainly is, to say the least. We've got a couple of laps to go. Starting to get very close and personal between the drivers at the top end as they now come down the home straight yet again. Lap 31 of 32, the penultimate lap of this race before we head on the final one. There's Lucas Blakely dead out in front. Just see him in the distance with Marcel Kiefer just in behind. Boreman so close to the back of Matthias van Erven. He's starting to put the squeeze on now, is Barry Boreman. How many duels have we seen with the likes of Otmir between him and Boreman? Not to mention Rasmussen, Kiefer, Blakely, all in the mix. But we've got these young pretenders, these newcomers, Ronha, Matthias van Erven, throwing themselves right into the mix here as well. But Boreman so quick, ever present as well, just under 0.3 of a second behind Matthias van Erven.
I can tell you they've turned up the wick now, George, because Danny Moreno is trying to cling on for dear life for that second, that DRS that he may well not get on the final lap. He's going to have to put in a brilliant middle and last sector to try and hold on to P4. Marcel Kiefer and Freddie Rasmussen are going on the attack.
They are. They're turning up the heat here now. As I said, penultimate lap. The next one will be the last one as they come out of that chicane. They've then got a little descent heading down. I say a little, it's quite a large one in fact, in towards Ravazza 1 and then Ravazza 2. Then they'll commence the final lap. We have now got some team radio coming in.
Marcel, we can attack at any point, but we would need to make the move stick. We can't be left vulnerable.
The final lap, and look at this, Barry Boreman's going to try and get past Van Erven. We've also got to move from Thomas Ronhart ahead as well. Danny Moreno's been passed for P4. Barry Boreman can't make it through on Van Erven. Blakely's been able to hold on in P1 as well. It's all kicking off on this last lap.
It's kicking off indeed. Kiefer's being asked to push by his team, but remain conscious of what's going on behind him, though he might just let him off because Ronhart is now 2 seconds away from Freddie Rasmussen. Kiefer being let off the chain. They're saying, go Marcel, go on the final lap here. Lap 32 of 32. It's all on Blakely and Kiefer as they now make their way into Aqua Minerale. The McLaren still holds on to that advantage. The Red Bull peppering that rear wing of that McLaren as they now head up through towards the next kink in the course, head through the next chicane. They have got certainly only a small amount of corners still to go, heading through this next little kink in the road in the next left. They've then got a right, the descent down towards the Ravazza, but he's done it once before, Lucas Blakely. He heads through this next left as well. He scored at Bahrain, his first win in the first race of this championship. He's about to cross the line and take his second, this time at Imola. Lucas Blakely is the winner of the F1 Esports Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Sensational stuff here. Certainly, incredible race. Matt, that was a corker.
Oh, take a deep breath. It was, yeah. The end of that, as we all knew, was gonna happen. Thomas Ronhart managed to make it up to P4 as well, but Lucas Blakely, absolutely bulletproof at the moment. 2 wins from 2. It's catch him if you can, isn't it, Tom?
Matt, thank you very much. Catch him if you can. He hasn't put a foot wrong, and that's what it means to him. Bit of relief and excitement and celebration. Oh, we love to see Lucas happy. Hayden, guys, what a great race and what a great showing from Lucas Blakely. But what a chase from Marcel and Freddie Rasmussen of the Red Bull team.
I know, Lucas so fast there that his camera can't even keep up with him. But
he's a blur!
We spoke about it at the start of the show. Red Bull, can they bounce back from what was a poor performance in Bahrain? They certainly did here today. Second and third, a great drive back from Freddie Rasmussen there. Again, the undercut, which actually really surprising as well. But you know, these races, these F1 Esports races, they're slow burners, but boy, are they a lot of fun at the end. Yeah, when they get going, they really do get going. Commiserations to the likes of Brendan Lee, Yoni Tormula at DNF, Nicholas Longue out early doors, just not showing that potential. However, potential was there for the rookies. I believe George up in the commentary called them young pretenders in Haas. But Van Erven getting points, and so for Ronhart. Fantastic work from there, and they've already beaten last year's score for the team championship. Yeah, they're going to be very happy with that. Already got more points than last year, and this is a very important thing for Ronhart. I think, you know, it didn't help me saying that he's going to get the race win today, but he needed to get that, you know, get some points on the board today, because it's one thing, you know, getting second place and then getting a DNF in the first race, but if you're on pole and you get 0 points in the second race, the pressure's going to start to build up. So one step at a time. Obviously pole position, great for him, but to get points on the board, even better, and now he can start to wind it up and have a little look at those front guys.
There is a lot of analysis and key areas to look at when we come back after the break. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back to the F1 Esports Pro Championship, where we have just seen Lucas Blakely win his second race of the season. We're driving on board with him now, and I tell you what, was he happy? Was he happy with his second win? Well, I'll let you decide when you hear him go wild.
Wait for it, 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 what? Yes, baby!
Oh, you love to hear it. That is different gravy. Hayden Gullis joining me on the desk here. We have just witnessed something that didn't happen last year. Lucas Blakely finished 10th in the second race of the season. This time, it's back-to-back wins. And already in the studio here at the Gfinity Arena, people are saying, could he do it? Could he uptake and go over Jarno Opmeer to winning a title?
What a story this would be if he can just do it, you know, missing out on that pro draft, then getting in the pro draft, then slowly working his way up, then, you know, starting to win races. And this was the race last year that was talked about, the one that maybe slipped away and brought him out of the championship hunt. Now it's back-to-back race wins. 50 points on the board for Lucas Blakely. He's definitely on this charge right now.
Yeah, what else impressed you? How good were the Red Bull? And before we get back to them, Jarno Opmeer, the reigning champ, I don't know what went wrong for him. There was a sort of technical issue in his car. He'd never seen that before. ends up finishing in the points. When I say points, I mean less plural. I mean just 1 point, but a point nonetheless. And Danny Moreno had to represent for Mercedes.
Yeah, that point would be very important to Jarno. It looked like maybe being tagged by behind from another driver. Of course, the start, the opening lap, all the cars are so close together. It's a very narrow circuit here in Imola, so maybe just a lock-up from someone behind or early on the brakes from Jarno, and he got a tag from behind. And maybe there was a little bit of damage on his car as well, because he was saying stuff about engine overheating, which he'd never experienced before. So you need to start to pull out from the slipstream from the car behind, get into some clean air and cool down that engine, otherwise you're going to lose straight line speed.
You were very impressed with Freddie Rasmussen and his tactics. What was it that impressed you most?
Well, it surprised me because the undercut this year on these, with the new how the tyres work, when it takes them a lap to sort of heat up and come to temperature, it seems like the overcut is the more powerful thing because you don't have. You can get that time gained whilst the other driver is getting his tyres up to temperature. So for them to do the undercut and gain on it so well, you know, Freddie Rasmussen coming out of the pit lane here, and then Marcel Kiefer following him as well. And Freddie Rasmussen came out literally right behind Marcel Kiefer, and then when the other drivers decided to pit as well, he was right behind Lucas Blakely, and of course Thomas Ronhaar was ahead of Rasmussen, but having to warm up those medium tyres, that's what cost him. I think the way Imola works, that the track is so winding, there's a lot of corners going on compared to Bahrain, as you can get those tyres, those medium tyres fired up about halfway around the lap, so you can really utilise them for the end part of the lap to gain on that undercut.
He is the expert for a reason. It is a delight to have Aidan with us. Let's look at the race results then, as they stand at the moment. And there it is. It is provisional, so things could still change. But Lucas Blakely getting another 25 points. 50 points after 2 races. Thank you very much, says Lucas. Well earned. Marcel Kiefer in second. Freddie Rasmussen completing the Red Bull 2 and 3. Thomas Ronhaar, first points in the F1 Esports Pro Series. And of course, Van Erwin picking up points as well. So now those 2 Haas drivers have bettered the whole calendar season for Haas than last year. Right then, DHL fastest lap time. It's always important. Everyone wants to know who's got it. And it's that guy in Maranello right now. It seems very hot and sweaty in that Ferrari Team HQ. Ariana Bravo is there. I'm sure she'll get Brendan's thoughts on being the DHL fastest lap time winner. But I have to say, though, he probably won't be very happy with that. He was expecting a bit more of a race. I'm taking all of these notes right over to join the one and only Matt Gallagher. I mean, a brilliant race to commentate on. Great to have George alongside you, just picking the bones out. Young pretenders. I tell you what, that Haas team have done very well, haven't they?
Yeah, Haas have been awesome. I think obviously they'll rue a little bit with what happened in the first round, but Ronhaar showed that he has got the absolute minerals to mix it with the very best. Maybe there's a few improvements he can make on the first few laps. It seems like maybe a little bit nervous mixing it with the very best, but 12 points, he'll take it.
Yeah, and Lucas Blakely, 2 wins back-to-back. That really is, that's championship form right there.
Well, yeah, 2 wins out of 2. You can't do much better than that, can you? Lucas will be very, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching him now, and he just seems a bit different. Like, he's moved to a new team, McLaren Shadow. Sometimes a change of scenery can bring even more out of a driver. He seems happy, but we're watching the start here, and it just went a little bit wrong for Ronhaar. But then again, it's not easy when you've got Kiefer and Blakely right down the back of you.
No, it's not easy at all. Ronhaar, of course, losing a couple of positions on lap 1. There you go, just getting slightly out of shape and opening the door for Lucas Blakely, who then went on the charge to then take the lead of the race as well. And Ronhaar, yeah, was very good. He can be very proud of his performance so far. Haas will be buzzing because, as you say, they got more points already this year than they did last. And there's the passion we love to see from Lucas Blakely. Not as sweaty today. Yesterday, he was a very sweaty man. But today, a bit more calm and composed, and just felt like it was all in control in the hands of that McLaren Shadow driver.
I believe there was a delivery, actually, to the Blakely household of a fan, which is much needed. The rest of the country is just getting a little bit colder, but for Blakely, it does get a little bit hot in there. Nicolas Onge, not the performance we wanted. Talking of Ferrari, David Tanitsa got into the points, and in Maranello right now, the Ferrari Team HQ is Ariana Bravo. You are with David Tanitsa. He's in the points, but is he happy with today and how it went?
Well, that's the question that I'm going to put to him. David, we said before the race that the aim was to get into the points. You did that, but how do you reflect on that race?
Well, it was actually a very positive race, lots of positive to take from that, because we started P15 and eventually we ended up P8, so I think that was great. Pace was there, we just need to improve qualifying, few mistakes. Talking about the race, I tried to follow Freddie in front. He pitted just one lap earlier. With the team, we decided to go immediately the lap after, and then eventually it was just defending from Simon that was coming up behind very fast. I was managing my battery, but unfortunately we had some sort of desync, so I literally saw Simon passing from 2 seconds under 1 second in the lap after. So I literally had to spend my whole battery in the last couple of laps to defend. But apart from that, the race was quite fine.
And this is the second race, of course, of event 1. But how are you feeling amongst the competition that you've got with you in the grid? All of the other drivers. How do you feel against your competitors? Where do you feel like your closest competition is?
Well, as I said, there is a lot of positive to take. So we saw in qualifying as well that the pace is there. Maybe we're just lacking alpha 10th, maybe, let's say, realistically. So we just have to sort out some mistakes. And me personally, I'm going to train more for the next event because as I said before the event, I had a lot of series going on before F1 Esports, so I have still to catch up some pace, but definitely in the race I saw and we saw as a team that the pace is already there. We just need to tweak some few mistakes that we do in qualifying.
Things to learn from. We're here in the factory. As you can see, it's much more subdued than it was in the build-up to the race. What is the morale like in the team after that session?
Well, it's quite nice, because every time, after qualifying session, we may be a little bit down, but we know that in the race we are very strong, so we're positive because as soon as we fix the qualifying, we are good for the race.
Okay, well, there you have it, Tom. Feeling positive here in Ferrari. David's feeling good after that performance in the race. Back to you guys to dig into the rest of the performance from the drivers.
Thank you very much, Ariana. Rest up. We will catch up with you tomorrow. Right, David Tanitsa, they know what they need to do. So does Brendan Lee. However, I'd like to chat, if we possibly can, to Marcel Kiefer. Great race for him. Back to some form, Marcel, in the points. That's what you love to see. What was it like racing against Lucas Blakely? He just seemed to have all the pace today.
Was that a question to me?
Hey, Marcel, it's Tom Deacon here. Hey, you're live. Please do not swear. Marcel, I know you wouldn't swear at all. Marcel, great to be back in the points, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, after yesterday, there was a relief. I'm still disappointed because, of course, it's not the win, but it's the first step, first podium of the season, and also in quali I showed strong pace, so yeah, it's a positive.
Yeah. I bet Lucas was nervous. He had Freddie Rasmussen and yourself in his rear-view mirrors. How quick is Lucas?
I mean, he won, so he's quite quick.
That is the response I expected from Marcel. I've missed him. This is the guy that, if he wins the championship, will bark at me. Listen, he said that.
Do you want a little bark? Like...
Marcel, listen, back in the points for the team championship. That's very important to you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, we are still focused as every year on the team championship. So there we go. So a 2-3 double podium is really strong to kick the season off, and we are just looking forward to make this the next time into a 1-2 and yeah, try and close the gap to McLaren.
Hi, Marcel. Great to see you back on the podium, mate. I just wanted to ask, was there ever a window of opportunity to beat Lucas today? And if so, when was it?
It was probably before the pits. If I would have went past Lucas, maybe I could have stayed also ahead of him in the second stint. But in the final stint, Lucas was so fast, also on the fresher tyres. Even though it was just one lap, I think Lucas did a great job today, and it was really hard to keep up with him. So, yeah, not much I could do in the final stint.
All right, well, listen, Marcel, rest up. I'm just going to bark right at you because you knew it was going to happen. There you go, Marcel Kiefer and the Red Bull team. Basically, he said if he was going to win a race, he would bark at me. So I just got in
context for everybody at home as well.
And for you as well, Matt. Right, let's look at the standings as they are after 2 races. And there you go, way out in the lead. Lucas Blakely with 50 points now. Barry Boromund in second place. Danny Moreno in third. Jarno Otmir, the reigning champion, 19. 14, and same as Freddie Rasmussen. So there is your top 10, and it's great to see 2 Haas drivers in the top 10. So what does that do for the team championship in the $750,000 prize pool? It means McLaren are top, and that is all you need to know. And Alpine, hey, there's a chance for you to pick up some points tomorrow at Silverstone. Matt, yeah, I'm regretting barking at Marcel Kiefer. Yeah, sure, and I've got to live with that. But hey, we will move on. What do you take from the day? Freddie Rasmussen, we know, won at Silverstone last year, so there's a chance for him to get back up there.
Yeah, Silverstone's going to be almightily close. It's going to be an amazing quali show, 3:30. And also the fact that, yeah, it's just going to be so close. We've already seen 2 incredibly tightly contested races. Lucas Blakely, can he keep that consistency? Because as we saw from that Drivers' Championship, all the other drivers are taking points away from each other. Lucas Blakely's like, no, I'll just take 2 victories, mate, thank you very much. So they need to... Liano Watmir, for example, can't be having 10th place finishes if he wants to win the title.
No, he cannot. It's only 1 point. That'd be 12 in total. Anyway, thank you very much. George Morgan, a debut. You were fantastic today. Did you enjoy it? What stood out for you?
I loved it. I think, obviously, Blakely's pace, I think, at the front was sensational. I think he got the launch he needed. I think Ron Ha, would be a little bit disappointed. I think he would have liked to have held it into Tamburello. Just did not quite work out. But, yeah, great showing there for Blakely. I think Red Bull can be pleased as well with the points that they got today.
Yeah, and will you be doing a video that we posted off your Twitter for your experience in the F1 Esports?
I'm sure there might be something, yeah. You know,
maybe a little news announcement ready. George, great to have you on board. Hayden, sort of sat at the desk, monitoring, analysing everything that went on. Who's impressed you the most today?
I think the race winner, Lucas Blakely, but also the Red Bull strategy, in all fairness, you know, doing that undercut and surprising everyone and getting that 2-3 for themselves. So great job from everyone back at the base.
All right, well, listen, thank you very much, Matt, to George, to Hayden. I will say this, though, Matt, out of these 2 guys, I know they're not coming back tomorrow. I'm going to ruin that for everybody. But a great job in the F1 Esports, wasn't it? For
yeah,
these 2
I thought you were going to ask me a question about them. I was like, no, they've done a great job. It's been great to have them.
Yeah, all right, well, listen, guys, that is all we have time for this evening. But a reminder that we are back tomorrow to bring you all the action from race 3 at a track that never fails to disappoint Silverstone. The qualifying show, he's right next to me, Matt Gallagher. Will be live from 3:30 p.m. before we are back with the racing at 7:30 p.m. from the Gfinity Arena. And Ariana will be back getting more views and reaction from inside the Ferrari Team HQ. And hopefully for her, there'll be more in the points, to be honest with you, because it looked very, very tense. What a start to the season we've had tonight. My thanks again to Hayden Gullis, to George Morgan, to Ariana, and to Matt. And of course, for you guys at home to be watching, I cannot wait to see if it's never been done before. Lucas Blakely can make it 3 wins back-to-back to make it the most incredible event one ever of the F1 Esports Pro Championship 2022 and in the history. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
There's 11 races to go. Imola, what a classic track. These drivers are so closely matched.
And it is pedal to the metal.
Tagged from behind, Otmir completely sent him into a 360.
Lucas Blakely now leads heading into Tamburello and takes the lead in lap 7. Burman has got it all to do.
Barry Burman can't make it through on Van Erven.
Lucas Blakely is the winner of the F1 Esports Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Sensational stuff here.